The New York Knicks have been linked to an elite defender who is a New York native and friends with multiple members of this New York Knicks team. And everyone is speaking out on this as the New York Knicks currently are known to have some serious issues with this club in regards to the chemistry. And we're going to discuss all this, so a lot to go over. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as we always do. And guys, if you're part of that 75% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe. We got daily New York Knicks videos like this. Right now, in the beginning of the offseason, we're putting out so much content. You do not want to miss out on any of these great videos that we got for you. But let's jump into it because there's a lot to go over. The New York Knicks, we know there are some chemistry issues with this team. There's been past issues between Karl-Anthony Towns and Head Coach Tom Thibodeau. While he is still the coach, we've seen the Knicks unit entirely not communicate the way that they did in a year prior. And because of that, what we've seen is New York Knicks fans really start to get worried about a lot of stuff, considering how things could be going in the future if the team chemistry is not on point. Now, it was mentioned by Fred Katz that a lot of the issues the Knicks had in their locker room were basketball ones. And Katz said, I wouldn't say this locker room is a mess. Sometimes personalities mesh. This one didn't quite mesh the way that last year's team did. I don't think it's irreparable. I don't think it's a disaster. So obviously not the greatest statement from Fred Katz on this team. It's not that the team is just falling apart at the seams, but clearly the chemistry that was there last year was not there with this team this year. And it's one of the reasons why they didn't end up going to the NBA Finals is because it felt like the chemistry was off. Maybe something was amiss, not having Hartenstein and Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle. There's a world where those three, who were three of the most hard-nosed guys on the team, did have an important factor into this chemistry, and without them, the Knicks were kind of a little stagnant. And I mean, it's possible. You consider the fact that DiVincenzo had multiple ties to multiple different players on that team, that Julius Randle had been there for a very long time, and that Isaiah Hartenstein just meshed with other people, specifically Mitchell Robinson. So it becomes a situation where you do start to look around and wonder what is going on, and a lot of people have turned to different places. We know that the Knicks and players and coaches were not thrilled with Karl-Anthony Towns and the way that he handled some of the defensive matchups because he just didn't see the problem with him not communicating well enough, and the Knicks players and coaches were worried about that. Meanwhile, there's a world where it's Tom Thibodeau's fault. It is somewhat on the coach to make sure the chemistry is there. Usually Tom Thibodeau teams do have excellent chemistry, so this one is a bit of an outlier for that, and you start to wonder if there's something different going on from Tibbs' side or if this is just completely on the players. Either reality is very possible, and we know that, and we know that the Knicks brought in PJ Tucker to try to help that. As mentioned by Fred Katz and James Edwards, the Knicks had absorbed that 25-point fist to the mouth in the previous evening before they ended up having a players-only meeting. A defeat that narrowed their second-round series advantage over the Boston Celtics 3-2. The day after that Game 5 loss, the players organized at the team's practice facility in Tarrytown, a meeting that veteran forward PJ Tucker called into order. Tucker joined the squad at the end of the season for reasons like this. The front office believed the locker room needed more leadership, a presence to help with communication issues that had plagued the group both on and off the court all season. This was the Knicks' time to talk. The gist of the meeting was blunt. We are one win away from the conference finals, the franchise's first in a quarter century. Let's get it together already. And as we know, publicly, Knicks players made veiled comments about all season and Karl-Anthony Towns' poor communication and their inconsistencies. And behind the scenes, the players and the coaches expressed frustration with Towns' defensive habits, less concerned with his talent level, and more with his process on that end. Often, Towns executed incorrect coverages without communicating why he did it. After it became a theme, players worried that Towns didn't grasp the importance of the matter. The ability to constructively critique became a point of emphasis for this Knicks team. So things got very interesting with it, and it also was mentioned by Josh Hart that all this stuff comes with familiarity and trust, and a lot of the times you only get that when you go through adverse situations together, so it takes time. And there's times where there was a play with JB, a pull-up, he had Cat wide open. I'm not sure if Cat said something to him, but I know that if Cat goes, look at the pop, I'm open on the pop, he's going to look to that. Same thing with Cat, same thing with all these guys. So it's definitely a feeling out process. It comes with time, but we're all old enough. I think our hearts are in the right place, so you know it's not coming out of any selfish intent. So that's something we could do more, and we will do more of. Now, Josh Hart also posted about Karl-Anthony Towns on social media and Mitchell Robinson and the whole team, basically saying, we're going to be back. It's going to be better next season. We're going to return. But there's a real world where a lot of this lineup does not return. Leon Rose is no stranger to changing things up, and it would not be the most shocking thing to see Rose decide that he doesn't like the full construction of this team and make some moves. And there's been a ton of rumors surrounding that, and there's been talks that it could be a more major situation, like a Kevin Durant, like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, and we do have some videos out on that, and there are going to be more as time goes on. And on top of that, there's been the idea of smaller moves. I just discussed one of them in a previous video that I put out. And on top of this, there's been another situation where fans are seeing that type of smaller move come into play for the New York Knicks. And that is this man right here, Jose Alvarado, because it was seen in the playoffs, this video. The New York Knicks fans were all dapping up Jose Alvarado, saying hi, saying what's up. And it becomes this interesting thing. Why is Alvarado there? He's on the Pelicans still, but he is a free agent if he opts out of his contract this year. And if he opts out of his contract, then the New York Knicks do have a chance to bring in a New York native, a hard-nosed guy who the team is clearly already friends with, who could add a lot of good to this Knicks bench. He gives him a true playmaker off the bench, and then you could have a bench of Alvarado, Deuce McBride, Josh Hart to lead your unit, and you do need a backup big man somewhere, whether it feels like if Mitchell Robinson is back with the Knicks next year, he's going to start at center, so you would need to go out and find some sort of backup big man or use Ariel Hukporti. Both options are very fine. Given if the Knicks do go out there, I expect Precious Achiuwa to not be back with the Knicks next season, so if the Knicks do decide to go with Hukporti, I do imagine they'd still bring in a veteran center just to have on the roster as well. So they have more than just 3 big men and 2 of them in the starting lineup. It just makes sense to do that. So we'll see how that obviously all goes down as well. But Alvarado is a player Knicks fans would be a fan of. Again, he's got that player option so he could leave. And it would be interesting to see what happens. So you look at what goes down with these New York Knicks starting lineups, it's clear there's a disconnect there because the net ratings are poor for all the 3 most used lineups throughout the entire playoffs. They're all below 0, so they have 3 negative net ratings with their top used units. It's not working. Something's amiss there, and the New York Knicks do need to figure that out because it's a serious problem that can't happen again next season. So getting Alvarado would help. Now, it does become a matter of they would likely end up having to trade for Alvarado, so if they want to do that, they can. The price has been higher in the past for Alvarado than it is. The defense is great. The offense is all right. You look at Alvarado's numbers, they were absolutely solid. He put up 10 points. He got 2.5 rebounds. He got 4.5 assists, 1.3 steals. He is such an excellent defender. He only shot 39% from the field, but he did shoot 36% from 3, which is not bad at all. Also 36% in the corner. Gives the Knicks a New York guy who's very tough-nosed and gives them a gritty guy, someone that they need. Now, again, it would be likely they'd end up having to trade for him, so it depends on what that trade would look like. But I do think it's someone the Knicks will harbor some interest in as this free agency period kicks underway. But what do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.